Asana helps you handle it. AI makes it easy to hand off routine important work. That's how work gets handled. Visit
Hey everyone. So, I know this is a little early, but so basically, I just got home from some. Uh, I just kind of got home from something, and I'm pretty tired today. So I decided to do an early stream, um, and what I'm also gonna, and so I'm just gonna read a few stories. And as you can possibly guess, these are stories that I've written myself. And what they basically entail, they're going to be a variety of different things, and I'm just going to be reading them. And they're not long. Like, as you can see here, they're like less than 1,000 words. So yeah, we'll go through them pretty quickly. Um, and I'll talk a little bit about what my ideas were behind them, like why I wrote them, and then also, other stuff if it's interesting. Um, and another thing is that like I haven't been able to get in contact with a lot of authors for new stories. And also I just need to go back and just be like, okay, like which stories can I read? Because some of the stories they're either um, they're either just I don't know. The stories are just I don't know what I was gonna say there. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, the point is that I'm still looking for stories, and we'll just see how it goes. So anyway, so let's just kind of get right into it. So today's story is called Victor's Day. To give you a little bit of background for how I came across the story or how I wrote the story, I'm part of a program, and sometimes we have like free writing, and I'm a really good writer. Well, yeah, like I just like to write a lot. So one day, um, I, it was a pretty stressful day, and I just put pencil to paper and just wrote. I just wrote words. I didn't care what they sounded like. I didn't care what it sounded like afterwards. I just wrote. Like every single word, I was just like, okay, next, like whatever word popped in my head, I wrote it down, and it just kept going and going and going, and so finally, it was just like I sat back and I was like, I have no idea, you know, what the story is. And this is actually part of a series. I did some similar stuff with this story, and it's kind of become its own thing, I feel like. Nonetheless, I kind of wrote this story and just kind of like, this is what it is. So here we go. Victor's Day. Victor looked at the pills in his hands. He watched as they turned into bluebirds and fly out the open window. He sighed as he knew that was going to happen. He turned to the glowing sunflower. It radiated warm sunlight and felt good on his skin. He poured the black liquid in his glass into the huge jug holding it. Victor watched with uninterested blue eyes as the flower turned charcoal black. Then it wilted away to dust that glowed like embers. He let the bloody tears fall from his eyes. He knew it wouldn't matter as no one was caring. He was unaware of the lunar moon crying star-shaped tears for him. He went into his room and pulled out his eyes unflinchingly. He sighed again as he pushed in electric neon green eyes into his head. He took one long look around his colorful room with his childhood memories locked in time. Then he looked at himself with his black, dirty clothes, all covered in his ugly thoughts and imperfections. His black dyed hair that had turned sticky and tangled. Victor shook his head and left. He walked out into the black sands, the water all around him making him feel heavily squashed down on him. The glowing creatures had seen and unseen slowly glided by, some watching as he walked on by, others ignoring him completely. To him, though, they all had eyes on him. He was just waiting for them to open their mouths, but none of them would ever think of doing that to him. Even still, he kept his head down as he walked through the heavy water. After a long walk, he came to an exit door, but he knew better and opened it to the sunny orange city. As Victor walked through the threshold, a red bus hit him and continued on. He lay on his side as blue ichor poured out of the wound. He let some sobs and tears come out for a minute. Then he got up and wiped them away, like they had never been there before. He continued on his way as busy people walked and rushed by. He looked up and watched as the planets and flowers all danced in space. Without seeing where he was going, Victor was eaten by a white smiling face. Its skin melted away until only the skull remained. He opened his eyes to a black room with a feast and people with hungry eyes. He looked away with a sigh as they shredded off his clothes, and with their bare hands they tore out his heart. They then cut off his head with a chef's knife. They all took a bite of his heart, while the devil at the head of the table took a bite out of his brain. As they all choked and died, the horned devil laughed and vanished away. Victor's body collected his clothes and put the heart back in. Along with his head, he got back together. Then, men came in and shot him. As he fell back, the floor crumbled away to let him fall down the kaleidoscope hole. As he let it happen, his eyes closed to let the red one open on his forehead. All around him were things that he cared for deeply, and little by little his smile grew. Victor opened his eyes to his dark midnight room. The night was good, and then the man in the moon came down to lay in bed with him and to kiss him. As Victor fell back to sleep, the man in the moon closed his red eye by waving his hand over it. He also washed the dye out of his hair with stardust water, his white hair glowing with ethereal beauty. And as the man of the moon looked up to the gods, entities, higher beings, and celestials that watched over the universe, he knew that his love was safe from all. So, again, for some context, I just kind of wrote this really kind of off the bat. Like, this is a story where I don't really have any idea what I was thinking when I wrote this. I wasn't thinking at all. I just wrote it. I wasn't in a particular... like I said, it was pretty much a stressful day. Nothing bad so far. It's just that... I would say that this was just, I just felt like I had a moment of inspiration and a moment where I needed to get alone and just write stuff down. Because I felt an itch to write stuff down. And like I said, the story, it kind of was just a one-off story. And again, it's become its own series, and eventually there may be a callback to it in some of my other stories. But yeah, so that's Victor's Day. And that's one of the stories that I've written. So we're going to the next story. This one is Dungeons and Dragons. And this one is Damir. So this is a story that introduces one of my D&D characters. I'm a really huge fan of D&D. I haven't played it a lot. I've been a part of a few sessions, but I've never really, I guess you say, I've never really gotten into it. This is one of the characters, this was going around to TikTok a lot, where you would put up the, they have this now, where it would basically have this system where it was like one of those ones where like you put your face up and you would have to and it would randomize it, and whatever you stats you got, whatever race you got, that was your character. And so this is pretty much what I got, which was a Damphemir. And um, I kind of played around with it because again, I'm not very good with D&D and some of the stuff, and I'll also probably mispronounce a lot of things. Um, so hopefully this will be a lot better, but let's just see. So this is called Damphemir. That's the character's name, Damphemir. Damphemir woke up to his middle aching and crying out for something to eat. He shifted from his spot in the old shack. He can't remember the last time he had a meal from the hands of others. He looks down at his old torn clothes and wonders when he will be robbed from today. He gets up slowly as to not upset his insides more. He decides then to go to the temple to pray to Elamir Meta. It has been some time after all, and he needs to keep his faith strong. So with little thought, he makes his way out of the shack. He takes it as slow as he can, avoiding the looks of others on his back. He walks the road with little thought as he makes his way to the temple. The recent guards have been pushing the less fortunate out of the city, and he knows that the temple can only do so much for him. He is thankful for the kindness and warm meals they provide for him from time to time, but he knows that it will not last forever. Even if the head priest spoke for him, it will matter little. He winced as he stepped on a jagged part of the road. He had given up on the idea of shoes a long time ago, along with the thought of finding a home that would welcome him with open arms. As he walks with his head down, and many of the folks giving him a wide berth. He walks with his head down, and many of the folk giving him a wide berth, or just not even bothering to give him a glance. He says nothing to this, and walks with purpose to his destination. Soon, he comes to the beautiful and wonderful place that has always opened its doors to him. Perhaps the one and only place that will in the world. Yet, in time, he will have to leave and say goodbye to the one place he felt safe in. The sister that was on duty for the day barely even noticed him coming in. Yet, she does seem to smile his way. He doesn't think much of it, as he makes his way to offer his prayer. He finally makes it and takes some incense sticks to do his few prayers to his patron. He gets down on his knees, holding his breath, and some of the aches flare up. His middle chose that moment to let out a loud gurgle. He ignores it and begins his prayers, soon feeling another come to stand next to him. His voice is dry and cracked, like a desert that has never had the luxury of rain or life. Once he is done, he opens his eyes as he sees his father Miron next to it. Hello, Father. I'm so sorry you had to see me like this. I must not be the best looking right now. So I believed that before. But the priest held him back and gave a world's weary sigh. My dear child, come and have the midday meal with us. Your pet has been worried about you and others that live here. Demir looks at him with tired eyes. He should have expected this. The man that had taken him under his wing had always shown him the best kindness, and had always had his heart in the right place. Have you no mirror to see yourself in? He asks as they make their way to where the others are having the midday meal. He shakes his head at Father Miron as they make their way there. The priest shakes his head and nods to the wall. Demir turns and sees himself looking at himself. His eyes are gold that no treasure can match. His oily black hair falls flat and almost covers his face. His form is hidden by the clothes he wears, but he knows they hide a skeleton starved. His skin is a sickly pale that he knows could possibly be from the recent sickness taking the city. Yet as he sees himself, he can only think of the naked corpses he sometimes sees in the streets. Some barely alive, and others too far gone to save. He should give his clothes away to others. They need them more than he ever will. Father Maron must have seen his thoughts, because his hand tightens on his shoulder. He locks eyes with him in the mirror and gives a sad look to him. Your heart knows no bounds of charity for others, but do not forget that sometimes you need to care for yourself before others. He says in a gentle voice, almost as if he was sharing a dark secret to him. Damir looked at Father Maron with a look of confusion, tiredness, and resolution. It hurt the man to see such a young face and eyes have that look in them. He looks away and helps him to the meal room. There are the two, along with some of the others there, came together to eat. Some came over to Damir and told him of the day's word, what he had missed, what new adventures had come and gone. The young acolyte listened to all the other members with a smile on his face. Some asked after him, others worried over his looks. Yet he always replied he was well and all. Some took his words, others gave a sad, longing look at him, but they said no more. Damir was always happy and grateful for their heart-filled words, but he knew that his time was running short with them. So with a little words, he said his goodbyes and offered his thanks. He said one last prayer before leaving the temple. He again refused the offer to stay overnight, and soon took his leave. He had felt some of the eyes watching as he left the temple. It was approaching supper time, but Damir knew he wouldn't find anything. As he walked along, he wondered what it was that made people so afraid of him. He'd been told by Father Maron that he was special, but he never said how, what, or why. Damir looked up into the night sky. He enjoyed looking at the stars. As he was thinking on his unknown purpose, he was unaware of the silent feet ahead. The silent feet behind. As he made to move again, a blow came to his head from behind. It stunned him, and the next thing he knew, he was being pinned down and stripped of everything. The thieves made away with the goods, but not before giving a beating. They slammed their feet down on him, spat at him, mocked and taunted. They called him horrid things. He was no match for them. His form bloodied and battered. He took it all with little fighting back. The group soon left him lying, broken on the ground with nothing covering his bruised and blood-caked body. As his vision blacked to nothing, he saw forms coming closer. He wondered if they were his guides to the afterlife. Maybe his parents had come to welcome him with them. He closed his eyes. His last thought was that death wasn't painful.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail.
So, that is Damir. And I just kind of wanted to say before the record, no, this character isn't dead. This is sort of just an introduction to him, and the hardships. So yeah, I basically made him a poor character. I forget, I think Damir is the name of the race, but I could be wrong on that. But anyway, so that's his story. It's just an intro and stuff. And this is kind of just something that I'm kind of like, you know what, this is his day, and this is normally just a day in life of his. Excuse me. And it's just sort of, I loved Dungeons and Dragons. Wish I had more experience with it. I really love Dungeons and Dragons. It's really, really beautiful. I wish I could join a lot more sessions. But it's so fun. Oh yeah, he's in ASMR character. Yeah, I looked up and I saw that. Yeah, he's an ASMR character, and his name is Damir. So yeah, sorry, but anyway, so yeah, that's his story, and so I think. Okay, so this is another one. This one is Among Us. So this one, I got into the Among Us kind of a little bit, mostly because I just kind of like the colors that they have: blue, white, red, yellow. All these other stuff. I almost kind of wanted to, get into this really, really interesting story. Um, but I never did. Among Us is sort of one of those games that I really need to develop more. Like, I have plans for some characters and some ideas, but the problem is that I just haven't had time for it. Um, and it's just, yeah, I haven't been able to do much with this. Oops, sorry. So I was flinging something around. Anyway, so yeah. This is just a little side story that I really kind of like because I was in an Among Us mood and I just kind of wrote it. I may continue some Among Us stuff, I may not, but right now this is what I have. I did this. White invites an imposter. He realizes it too late. White panted as he lay on his side. He covered his wound as his blood spilled out. He tried to stop his whimpers from coming out as he tried to finish the last 2 tasks he had. He knows that this is his fault. He did this. He told them it was okay. He thought it was okay, but it wasn't. He knew it now. He saw it happened. But now he could only hope it didn't get to the others. How many are even alive? He guessed that pink was okay. Red was a maybe. He just needed to finish the last 2 things. He could feel the hot tears in the cold wind. Please, please, please. He begged as the maze was starting to make him cross-eyed. He cursed as he needed to restart. He just couldn't stop seeing black and green's bodies, just laying there in a crimson pool. He can't stop hearing the last thing Black said to him. I know what you're hiding. I'll tell them all. He tried to get the square to the end, his hand shaking as he finished. He breathed a sigh of joy that turned to a pain cry as he struggled to stand up. It was painful and slow, but he knew that if he just finished this last thing... White let out a pained whine as the station was plunged into darkness. A dark thought passed in his head. So it can end better. He pushed off the wall and stood to pray over and over that someone would be able to fix the lights. He made sure that his back was on the wall as he felt for the door. He didn't want this thing getting for him from behind. He needs to face the darkness of Polyus. The alien stars his only light as he slowly moved along the wall. Finally, his fingers came to the door frame and breathed a sigh of relief. He wasted no time entering the room. He fumbles before he decides to just take off his helmet. He found the nozzle easy, but now he just had to find the empty ones. He tried to lift the cans, only to stumble, and he groaned as he fell. He bit his lip hard to avoid the screams that he once uttered as his wound tore once more. He panted as the pain faded. He was sure that he was wasting time. Suddenly, he was thinking of all the times Green would help him with this. He tried to push those memories away from his mind as he tried to connect the tank to the nozzle. When it tried to get it to connect, and heard the clank and breathed relief. He tried to see if it was getting full. It seemed slow. He wasn't sure if it was just the adrenaline or the oxygen was actually slow. As the bar filled, he wondered why the lights aren't on yet. Pink had been heading that way when he last saw them, but that had been a while now since. He could only hope that they're still there. Finally, the tank was full. He thinks, at least. He gets the next tank ready. It was hard to do so with one arm available. The others trying to stop the bleeding and the blood loss. He tried to get it on the nozzle, only to fumble it. He cursed and got it back to the nozzle. As he was struggling with the tank, froze, instead of a door opening. The only sound was the silence that pressed down on the room. White held his breath as tight as he could. He prayed that it was either pink or red coming in. But right now he could only pray. Then the hissing of the door closing, the footsteps seemed to herald his fate. Something stepped into the room. The moment that he heard the low growl of something inhuman, he croaked out a single word. Blue. The weird chuckle confirmed it. The thing was here for him. Came closer, but I couldn't move. I could only accept it now. Then Blue spoke, but it was wrong. I'm here, White. It's okay. We can talk forever now. And so that is the end of The Among Us. I did this. So, yeah, this one's kind of like a short little thriller story that I kind of wrote. I did my best to kind of do what I could, because there are obviously more people that are really good at writing Among Us stuff. I just kind of felt like, you know what, this is really cool. I'm gonna try this, because it was pretty simple, because you have the names. You don't really have, you know, all the stuff. And I can't pronounce some names and stuff, but anyway. So this is a really good story. I may want to do Among Us. And again, this was during the craze of Among Us. Or, well, I kind of came at the tail end of the craze of Among Us, but still. I really just kind of was like, you know what, I'm in an Among Us mood. Let's write this. Let me see what happens with this. And so this is that. And yeah, so that was, I did this. Now the next one that we have is the Frank. I am a furry. I love furries. I am definitely a furry. I don't have a fursuit. I have heads, I have paws, I have some tails, maybe some ears, but yes, I am definitely a furry. I don't have a suit, but I really would love to get one of these days. I know it's expensive as all get out, but it's really my dream to one day have a suit. I don't know of which character, because I just have so many different characters, but hopefully one day I can. Anyway, so I have a bunch of ideas for furries and crossovers and stuff with them. I'll also say this. I'm a huge crossover fan. I really love crossovers. There's something just so good about a crossover that makes me just... Like, if it's a good crossover, I will stop and read it. But if it's done really badly, it will really annoy me. So, to explain this, is that I had planned for this to be longer, but I have such an ADHD brain, and I don't know if I'll ever finish this. This may kind of be one thing that just leaves, that just kind of gets stayed, or just, you know, it stays here and it just collects dust. But the point is that when we read here, you'll kind of see later on that it's like, okay, like this is something really interesting. But yeah. So, a shark in the Inquisition. What if the Inquisitor was someone else? Something that doesn't even look human. What would happen to the story? Or, the Sergal takes the place of the Inquisitor. Chapter 1. Start. This is getting us nowhere, Liliana. They are just wasting our time. Cassandra said as they stared at the shark-like monster that sat in the cell. The creature had been found at the Temple of Sacred Ashes after the explosion. They had fallen out of a rift and frightened the party that found them. At first they thought it a demon, but after the apostate elf had confirmed that it was no demon, that left them with more questions. Was it a mage that had lost their form after coming in contact with the Fae? Or was it some darkspawn? She supposed Sister Liliana would know that better than her if it was darkspawn. But so far nothing they had said seemed to be understood by the creature. It would only reply in yips and yaps that could be mistaken as a Mabari pup. When the mark would act up, they would whine or cry in pain. Cassandra took another look at the thing in the cage. The furry shark-like being was mostly white, with a blue that was almost black as the night. It had orange eyes that seemed to glow in the darkness of the room. It seemed to be able to stand on two legs and had a strange protrusion coming out of their chest. It was a lighter blue than the fur on its back. A long white tail with fur swayed behind them, black talons on their hands and feet. Bandages covered their arms, and she did not know what was beneath them. Liliana did, but she refused to tell. Cassandra was reaching the end of her patience. She almost wanted to just cut the paw off of the prisoner off and leave them in the cell to rot. Yet Liliana was certain they could somehow communicate with it. Cassandra wasn't holding her breath. Meka knows what this will accomplish. However, it seems that miracles are truly possible. Somehow Liliana is able to get the prisoner to follow her out to show him what is going on. Upon seeing the breach, Cassandra is able to now see the shock that is on their face. It becomes clear to her at that moment. This thing may not be completely the one responsible for the explosion, and that may mean there is more going on than they thought. But she can't worry about that now. First, they must see if Solus was correct in his theory about the mark. She tells Liliana to go ahead to the forward camp with the others. She will ensure the creature will make it to the breach. Just then, the breach expands again and sends a massive sound of rolling thunder throughout the valley. The prisoner lets out a wailing cry that is like a great bird being shot out of the sky. It falls to its knees and quietly whines in pain. Cassandra tries to copy Liliana's approach. She points to the breach and repeats its name to the prisoner. They seem to understand and stand. She leads them to the gate. She can only pray that this will help. So, Seeker, any idea what Sharky is? Cassandra looks to Varric, then back to the creature who is currently in some form of conversation with the apostate Solus. We are not sure. They appear to be passive for now, but who knows when that will change. I can agree with you on that. They certainly seem to know almost barely any Ferelden, and I can certainly say they don't look like anything that I've seen, Darkspawn included. The thought had crossed their mind before as well. How could the creature be Darkspawn? It could be possible for all they know. He is not a Darkspawn, I can assure you both. They turned to see Solus approaching with the creature looking far more at peace than before. Our friend here and myself had a conversation, managed to find a common tongue between us. He is called Vulcan, and his people are the Segals. And that is the end of Shark and the Inquisition. If you saw this big black empty thing on the beginning, that's because there used to be a link where I had a picture of the character. It must not be working right now, and I may just get rid of that altogether and later just give a link. But the point is that you were eventually supposed to see the character and what he looked like, and then later on, and then the next chapter will eventually shift into Volkaire's, Volkschim, Volschlem's perspective, and we get to see how he got into the Inquisition, or how he got into the Fade, and how that all happens. And this pretty much follows the whole plot of Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, I have Dragon Age Inquisition, but I never really played the game. I played a lot. I've seen a lot of playthroughs, and what that means why I don't play it is because I have the European version. I don't have an American copy. So unfortunately, I was not able to play it, which is really frustrating. But other than that, I'm really happy because this is a story that I really do want to get back to one of these days. Just different types of furries being in these stories, or just in games in general, you know. I have, I think, in Avali that is Dragon Age Inquisition. I've had a couple of Protogens. But yeah, Protogens or Avalis. Sergals was kind of one. And then there was a couple of other ones as well that I may eventually do. But yeah. The reason why I like these is because I really want there to be this dissonance of the Inquisitor is not human. And yes, you can change your race, but I also like the idea of, hey, you know, what if the Inquisitor was this unknown being, this unknown creature that none of them knew? It was intelligent, but it was, you know, it just, you know, it didn't look human. How would that work out? So, you know, that was kind of my basis for the Shark and the Inquisition, and I may come back to this idea again. Maybe I'll share some Protogens or some Avali ones, but yeah. So that is the end of that. And the last one that we're going to read, this one's probably going to be a little bit... This one's got a couple, but, this one is Genshin Impact. So basically, I used to be a big fan of Genshin Impact. I still am. I don't play it though. I mostly love the character designs and the characters and stuff like that. This will be something of an interesting things. So these are just some ideas, because and what they are is that, like, we've all heard the stories of because, like, I really like from this one role reversal. There's so many role reversals ideas. I think, and one of the ones that I really kind of want to explore is Genshin Impact characters if they were in the Travelers, shoes. So, or if they were, or as they say here, if they were an Archon. Now, again, I'll be honest. I don't know too much about Genshin Impact. I know it's a really good game, but I just don't know a lot of the mechanics about it. And so, this is just stuff that I've put down on. None of these are completely finished. They're just ideas that I had. And we'll probably go about maybe one or two of them. Because again, well, no, we're just gonna read one. Because again, like, this stream is gonna be short. I'm not really bothered on, you know, time thing. I just kind of want to get this done. Because I'm tired, guys. I'm really tired. So I just had a big family thing, and it kind of drained my social stuff. So, anyway. So here we go. The Traveler Toma. Toma smiled with a sigh as he dusted another corner in the household. Honestly, did these people not care about the state of their homes? He's seen other words where they definitely took better care of their dwellings better than this. Ma'am, please, it's no bother. I'm happy to help you. Besides, it's the least I can do to repay your kindness to me. He chuckled at the sweet old woman he had stumbled into during his travels through the strange land of Telvant. He'd woken in her house, injured and with fragmented memories of a fight he had. His sister had also not been with him. The woman even said she hadn't seen someone matching his description of her. There'd been a panic, but now it wasn't as serious. He took it as a sign to explore as much as he could of the new world he was in. So now here he was, helping the woman with cleaning before he left on his journey. It was something Toma took importantly. He liked helping keep a home nice and clean and organized. He thought it stemmed from their time being on the go, traveling the worlds among the stars and the universe, never really having a home to call their own. It was hard, and the few times they had it, or the closest they felt to having one, Toma made sure it felt like one. That included making sure it was always looking its best. After all, no one knows when they will get unexpected visitors, but now he was sure he'd overstayed his welcome. So he finished the work he had set himself to do and left the old lady's place, with the promise of coming back if he found his sister, or just coming back any time. After all, he had a whole new world to explore, and along with it, a friend to find. A twin to find. Thank you for the advice, Grandmaster Jean. I also must comment on how clean your office is. Do you have helpers of a sort? Oh, yes. We have a rather professional maid by the name of Noelle. She is the best we have ever had, I must say. Oh, well, I hope I meet her sometime. I would like to see how we both do things and compare. And that is how I do the cleaning in Captain Kanya's office. How nice. I certainly learned a few good things to add to my cleaning arsenal. I do wonder, though, is that a universal way to do it, or is it different how each region and country clean? Well, traveler, I honestly thought we would meet in different circumstances, but I'm not complaining at all. Captain Kaya! My greatest apologies. I had only meant to. I thought you were more a dog person. But mouses? How about you being my little mousey in our game of cat and mouse? No, I was only. Kelly! See, Mr. Thomas? Thomas, the fishies come out and. Oh. Hey, Mr. Thomas, are there water fairies when you fish? Razor! Yes. Why is there a path of mud from the garden to the kitchen? I was only gone for a few minutes. I was hungry. Want food? Bath time, mister. Razor, not dog. Hey, you get back here. Honestly, Mr. Zangoya, this place needs some major cleaning. I'm surprised you let these beautiful pieces collect so much dust. Please, Thomas, there really is no need to. Not another word, mister. Harkon's sake, I hope you find a good woman who can handle your messy hoarding. This makes the pigsty look like a paradise. You would almost mistake this for a dragon's hoard. Thank you for saving my sister's vision. I don't know what we would have done if you didn't appear. Oh, yes. We're in your debt, sir. Please, let us take you to our master and mistress's home as a thank you. Really, it's no, we insist. Please, the master will love to speak with you. Well, it wouldn't hurt. So that is Toma as the traveler. And as you saw here, these are just like some lines that I had some ideas. Because again, I don't know too much about the Genshin Impact stuff. And yeah, so this was just lines that I felt like were from the game and stuff. And also another thing. In these stories, Ethan and Lumaine, they will take over whatever character's role. So since Thomas, he's a character that's like from again, like all I know is that he's a caretaker, but apparently he's also like some sort of a member of the family, or he has more than a house. He's more than I know he's more than a housekeeper, but I just mainly know him as a housekeeper. because that was how I was introduced to him. But I know he has more stuff. But the thing is that Toma is that Aether and Lumaine, they take his spot in the story. So whatever role Toma has, Aether and Lumaine, they both basically take it, and the same goes for the other characters. So yeah. So this is the end of the stream, guys. Sorry it was short. Again, it's just that I had a really tiring day. I just kind of wanted to come home, get this done, and yeah. It's a short stream, guys. Sorry about that, but I just kind of wanted to get something done, and I really wanted to, have fun with you guys. So, anyway, the stream will be ending. It was really nice. Again, so Friday we will resume our usual time. Hopefully by then I'll be a little bit better and we can continue with some other stories. Again, I'm still looking for some because I don't. It's I consider it polite to at least ask some authors. I've gotten some no's, mainly because of YouTube's basically because of YouTube stuff. So so I won't be doing some. I won't be able to read some stories, but I'll talk about them, and I'll recommend them. And that's probably something else I can do. Is I'll show you guys some stories that I recommend reading, because I can't read them because YouTube and stuff. But yeah, so anyway, that's all for today, guys. Thank you guys so much. See you guys later. Bye.
Story of the one. As a lineman, it's his job to keep the power on. That's why he chooses Granger for professional grade products and next day delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call, click, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.